How's it going, folks? Hope y'all are doing well. Okay, another update on the main YouTube channel is needed. We received another bullshit strike, this time over Bat Stew misinformation. I guess reporting on Jen Psaki and Joe Biden's ridiculous social media misinformation accusations are now considered a COVID vaccination false information strikeable offense, or some nonsense like that. Now, over the years, I'd like to think I've been pretty damned resilient, as have many of you, the subscribers. We are sending in an appeal, but either way at this point, I'm going to be dialing it down a bit. I'll probably be making 3 to 4 videos a week and diving back into the construction business because I can't keep putting my family through this. I don't usually talk about myself at all, but I'm raising 2 kids, a 13-year-old boy and a 17-year-old young lady, and we need more of a consistent income, if you will. Now, no matter what happens with the main channel, I will be posting on my BitChute channel, which is growing, which I'm very thankful for. I will also be posting on my secondary YouTube channel, CR's Safe Space, and Rumble, if I can ever get the downloading process working consistently. It's kind of a mess. Now, I realize how this sounds, but I'm not finished at all, folks. I'm just going to dial it down a bit for a while. Now, someday I'll go into detail in the way Google tortures creators, and I mean tortures, mentally, emotionally, and of course financially. It's disgusting on so many levels. It's anti-American. It's just outright evil. Since 2016, I've done nothing but bend over backwards to appease these assholes. But at the end of the day, they hate everything I stand for and everything that makes this country what it is, or at least what it was not too long ago. Anyways, I love you guys. Through the years, you've been the reason I've kept fighting and will continue to fight. Now, let's get into this gem of an article courtesy of The American Thinker. Whoa, almost forgot. Let's take a quick commercial break before we get started. And now more than ever, I could really use your support. Our health and patience have really been challenged, so I found a remedy that works. 100% pure ESS 60 is incredible, and now you can buy it directly from the lab. They call it a miracle molecule because people sleep better, enjoy more energy, and mental focus with a simple spoonful in the morning. You can mix it in your salad, rub it on a steak, or even dip your bread in it. ESS 60 comes in 3 delicious organic oils: olive, avocado, and MCT coconut. This groundbreaking blend supports your immune system with powerful antioxidants and antiviral properties. ESS 60 delivers more than 172 times the power of vitamin C. It's such a powerful antioxidant that it helps neutralize free radicals to assist with detoxification. Don't wait to order your ESS 60 oil directly from the lab. You're going to love it, and it's good for pets too. Get $10 off today at www.c60evo.com/conservative resurgence. That's www.c60evo.com/conservative resurgence, or click that link in the description box. Can a civilization continue to function when the most basic truths cannot be spoken, yet blatant falsehoods are dogma? When radical upheavals are justified not by wisdom, but by disorienting barrages of phony outrage and crisis? Think of a great ship, if you will. A nuclear-powered aircraft carrier is an integrated system of immense complexity, requiring thousands of specially trained men and women to operate and maintain. So what if someone suddenly replaced a carrier's human crew with 3,000 excitable chimpanzees? The giant vessel would soon drift to a halt, catch fire, and sink, while the chimpanzees threw feces back and forth at each other, of course. Now, imagine a nation designed by brilliant men for a moral and conscientious civilization. How long could that society endure once the chimps took over? This nation's supposed president calls a proposed voter identification requirement Jim Crow on steroids, an existential threat to democracy. But even an absolute idiot understands that in a world where store clerks check the IDs of 50-year-olds buying beer, it's ludicrous not to require an ID for some homeless guy being paid to vote. So, if an absolute idiot understands this, what kind of society is led by a man who pretends the opposite is true? The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff testified that, quote, white supremacism is the biggest current threat to national security. But the death toll from white supremacist terrorism in the last 50 years is a number approaching zero, whereas Islamic terror in America, the numbers were somewhere around 4,000, including dozens of military victims. And all of the burning, looting, and street violence and political attacks of recent years have been from Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Furthermore, and I don't say this with any low IQ racial ego, but black folks are approximately 27 times more likely to commit interracial violence than whites are. So, blaming white supremacy for anything is insanely irrational. Yet our lovely military chiefs are openly zeroing their weapons in on the heartland. Folks, this is literally playing out like those old World War II documentaries on the History Channel growing up. The January 6th unpleasantness at the U.S. Capitol has been called another 9/11, a violent insurrection and much, much worse. But only one person died violently that day, and she was an unarmed white protester shot by a reportedly black Capitol Police officer. Just imagine if the roles were reversed by color and political affiliation. Oh boy. Police literally opened the damn Capitol doors to let the marchers come inside. There was some major shoving by the mob and limited but often replayed breaking of windows, including some by people dressed like Antifa. But no serious violence of any sort, and considering the circumstances, rather a cordial relationship with the police overall. All kinds of videos show well-behaved crowds inside the Capitol, in hilarious contrast to Antifa Marxists, of course. The famous Buffalo Shaman guy literally strolled quietly into the Senate chambers accompanied by a policeman. That's a fact. Then he led a small group in a prayer. That's a fact as well. That mellow dude remains locked up in isolation for no other reason than to maintain the fiction of the, quote, attempted overthrow. It's much like the New York Times fabrication that Officer Brian Sicknick was beaten with a fire extinguisher when in fact he died uninjured of a stroke the following day. A year ago, leftists blamed COVID deaths on the sitting president. The accelerated vaccine he promised would surely be both late and dangerous. Now, these very same doubters have morphed into vaccine Nazis demanding passports and punishment for the unvaccinated. These fearmongers claim that the new Delta virus is especially scary for the young and unvaccinated. That's no coincidence. Yet statistics from the UK clearly show that the Delta death rate is crazy low, like 0.1%, and that recent COVID case numbers have jumped precisely after millions had been fully vaccinated. Furthermore, fully vaccinated people in England are currently over 5 times more likely to die from the Delta variant than are the unvaccinated. Wow. Maybe those death statistics are tilted by age bias in the vaccinated UK population, but once again, it reveals this. The basic premise behind the permanent pandemic is 180 degrees wrong. Meanwhile, the Earth's temperature is determined by a star 93 million miles away, radiating at 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and it is affected by the massive forces of ocean currents and atmospheric patterns. The Great Lakes were left behind when the massive ice covering of the Northern Hemisphere suddenly melted 15,000 years ago. Europeans lived and raised animals on Greenland until it got too cold around the 1700s. Climates change near and long term. Man's generation of carbon dioxide, an inert molecule constituting less than 1/20th of 1% of the atmosphere, is obviously not the critical determinant of the global climate. A quick data check reveals that CO2 levels rise and fall with cyclical regularity over millions of years, and that the current rise began 15,000 years ago. So yes, AOC, you can kiss my ass. So man that contributes perhaps 1/10 of natural CO2 levels is but a wart on the ass of the giant frog of climate change. Still, the bosses would have us reorder the economic world and tear down, like superstitious primitives, a robust multi-layered energy network in favor of costly and fragile green projects that cannot yet pass market muster on their own merits. Everywhere we now see frauds posing as leaders, while brainwashing replaces knowledge and manufactured crises are weaponized to crush and control regular humans. So really, how long can our new zombie America continue to coast on the inertia of systems created by men far superior to our modern ruling class. I would say probably about as long as a ship in our all-chimp Navy. Translation, you better start ducking, because shit's gonna hit the fan. Most of this came by way of the American thinker. If you liked it, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment down below. There's a PayPal link in the description box, so please put $1 in the bucket on the way out the door. I'd like to thank everyone for all your donations. They're much needed and much appreciated. Now, with all that being said, we'll see you next time.
Come on, move. Move. Easy, easy.